Hello everyone, my name is Elaine Wang and I'm the second year MFA student at UNCG right now. So firstly, I appreciate that you're interested in Chinese culture and Chinese classical dance. Today, let's move in our man firstly and learn something maybe fresh and interesting for you. Let's move Chinese classical dance. 中国古典舞. So before I'm trying to explain so many things about Chinese classical dance, I have a pre-listening question for you. Which of the following pictures do you think is Chinese classical dance? As you can see, there are 3 pictures here. You don't have to give me any answers yet, but what you need to do is trying to look at these pictures and may guess one of them and write it down on a piece of paper. That is enough. So obviously there are 3 different kinds of dance, and there are only 1 pictures is Chinese classical dance, but no worry about that. I will ask you these same questions again at last after you learn something from me. So if you want to know the answer, we have to know what is the definition of the Chinese classical dance firstly. What is Chinese classical dance? When you see there are 5 weird words here, you tend to think about, oh, I don't know what is that meaning, but it's okay. It's definitely the Chinese word of the Chinese classical dance. We call it in Chinese 中国古典舞. So what I want to use the Chinese here is trying to explain it really separately, because in China, separate words have different meaning here. So the first 2 words, 中国, means China. The third one we call 古 in Chinese, and this means ancient in English. So it's from something from really long time ago or have a really long history. The fourth one is 点. You can just follow if you want to learn some Chinese, of course. 点. So it's in English, it's called classic. And the last one, can somebody guess what is that? Definitely is dance. So connect everything here is Chinese ancient classical dance. But we just call it in English Chinese classical dance, but I want that everybody knows that it's from a really a long time ago. So the definitions here. Classical dance refers to dance that has been handed down on the basis of traditional Asian dance, refined, sorted out, processed, and created by professional workers in previous dynasties, and tested by artistic practice for a long time. Founded in 1950s, Chinese classical dance was once called opera dance by some people. So the opera dance means Peking opera. Somebody maybe know that, maybe not, but it's totally fine. It's one kind of traditional art form in China. So after we talk about the definition, we have to talk about something about development process. So how does it formed? Like what the classical dance have, right? So I make a really beautiful line here. So the first, I roughly divided to 5 stages to describe it. The first one is the first stage. So it is based on the crowd dance, then developed from folk dance, and finally entered the dance school and becoming source of Chinese classical dance. So it's from the parents, right? Then the second stage. It started to combine with some basic training method of the Western ballet. It's the really similar word, right? Ballet dance. And after restudying the similarities and differences, the training methods of Chinese dance are choreographed. So, as you can see here, so Chinese classical dance use something from the Western ballet. So you may have some questions in your mind, but no worries about that. We're gonna discuss it later. So just keep thinking about the next stage. The third one is by reading and analyzing a large number of history books and pictures. The researchers attempt to reconstruct some of the details of history that have almost disappeared and recreate it by choreographers. So all of the researchers or choreographers, whatever, they're gonna like learn a lot of things from the book and try to think about how does those dancers move for a long time ago, right? And then they're gonna think, okay, I'm gonna try to form something really similar to that, and more people like to work on it and choreography about that to form today's Chinese classical dance. The next stage, some of the details are taken from Chinese opera, as I just talked about, because some of the resources can be drawn out naturally to provide resources for Chinese classical dance. And the last one, from folk dance to find details so that the dance close to life. So there's a saying like in China, so the dances come from our life. So all of the movement is come from our lives, right? So this experience of life contributes to the expression of dance movements and emotions a lot. So those 5 stages really the main process of the Chinese development, Chinese classical dance in development. Hope it can help you to make more sense about it. And here, I would like to show you a really good example about the Chinese classical dance, which is one of my favorite pieces. It's really a famous one recently, and it's a group dance. It's also kind of a balance dance, and you can see it and watch it. You don't have to think about any questions, so we just enjoy about the whole piece. So, okay, is it a really good one? I think so. I really love that. So after showing the example for everybody, I would like to talk about the characteristic of Chinese classical dance from 4 parts. So here I provide a picture here on the left one. And you can find some details from what I want to talk next. So it divides 4 parts for the characteristics. The first one is circle. So it's not the real circle. It's the way that dancers how to move by using their body. So it has the parallel circle, And the second one is vertical. It's vertical circle. How to think about how does it work? And the third one is the circle follows the path of the number 8. So number 8 is the Chinese way to 0.8. So the 8, try to imagine how to move. It's through like number 8, right? And try to like using your body, just follow me to think about how to move like by like drawing a circle with your body. So this is circle, the first one. And the second one is curve. The Chinese is qu. We call it curve in English. So most of the movements is centered around the waist, shoulder, and head. For example, using your head is like something like that. And use your shoulder, maybe go to your left way or go to your right way. It depends on different piece, definitely. And shoulder and head and waist is, you cannot see my waist, but it's also like moving. The third one is twist. In Chinese, it's called 拧. So it means that the lower limbs are flexed, fixed, and the upper body rotates horizontally to the left or right. So it's opposite side, right? From your body, different part of that. And the last one is slant. You can see, I think right here, I will not, it's too long, I will not read that. But all of the elements, the characteristics, you can also find from this picture. Some of them is, you know, the circle or a curve or twist, a slant. It's also a process. It's not a gesture or a movement. So the pictures cannot see the process, but you also can find something from this picture. As you can see, their arms, their legs are now like a straight line, right? So it's also like something like a circle. You can try to imagine like here is a circle here, and there's a part of circle, right? And something like twist and slant, you can see it's like kind of like slant to somewhere and with a jumping together. So it's really different from other kinds of dance because it's so many things to remember. And some people may curious about like you talk about like ballet dance, but what is the difference between Chinese classical dance and ballet? You definitely know what is the ballet dance, but why you said is they're similar, but it's their difference. And now that is what I want to talk about. Here is a picture, and you can see two dancers in this picture, and they're kind of using the same gesture. They're really similar, right? But the left one is definitely a ballet dancer, and the right one is the traditional Chinese classical dancer. And before we talk about it really deeply, we can try to find some small things from this picture. So what I can see, you can just think about that and guess what I'm gonna talking about right now. The first one is I found their hands are different, really different. So as you can see, the ballet dancers, their palms always inside of their body, whatever they do, their movement is inside of their body. But the Chinese dancers always like outside, their palms always like, as you can see here, is facing to the ceiling and another is facing to the side. So the palms will never like to their body. And also you can see here, their feet are totally different. So Chinese classical dance will now do the same as the ballet dancers did. These things was really small details that I found from the first time I saw the ballet dancer and the Chinese dancer. And now you can find more things, definitely. But now let's move to really more deeply about the difference between Chinese classical dance and ballet dance. So the difference, I also put it in divided into the 4 parts. The first one is the history. So the history is definitely different between those two kinds of dance. So the ballet dance has a really long history back to the Italian Renaissance in the 15th century. And the ballet established a really complex system compared with Chinese dance. And many of the basic requirements and norms have been continued until now. So we also used in the what we take classes right now, right? But the Chinese classical dance is based on the 5,000 years of Chinese history. It's really long. It's a really long time. Since the beginning of the historical records, the Chinese dance has existed in court dance, folk dance, drama, and also you definitely heard that, the martial arts. After the refinement of various dynastic cultures, it has been continuously enriched and improved to form today's Chinese classical dance. So it's totally different. And the second one is core. So what's the core of both kinds of dance? The ballet dance is more focused on the training muscles of their legs and feet. Everybody knows that. They pay more attention to precise specification of the movements. But the Chinese classical dance emphasizes the combination of the body charm, body style, skills, and performance. And through their eyes, expressions, breathing, and some processing of the movements, the dancer's character, emotion, and the unique temperament of the Chinese people are shown. For example, the subtle softness of a woman or a steadiness of a man, something like that. And the third one is the body training. So in basic training, I think ballet requires a standing with the knees facing out, and also the foot is also facing out. And this way, the training the legs muscles really rarely used in daily life, but the Chinese classical dance uses the normal muscles for the exercises. That one is really easy, right? And the last one, which is the really, really hard one. So it's the cultural deposit. So as we know, the ballet is an elegant art. So the dance rhythm is relatively smooth and regular. In terms of the movements, the basic framework is a straight line and a straight angle. So all of the movements like that. It's really, really long. A dancer is moving the arms and the legs and their neck. Everything's really long. And the sense of the balance of the body is really, really emphasized. And the Chinese classical dance is really actually part of the culture handed down by the 5,000 years of Chinese history, as I talked. So the Chinese dance movements with modeling circle as a basic unit. The circle can reflect the Taoist thought of the natural and humanity. And to circle as a connection between two actions can make the movements show really like flowing fluency and coherence. So you may think like Chinese dance is more like something really like water, really fluency, something like that. And you can see, you can watch so many things. It's really really fluency. And after we talk about the difference, I will show the last piece, and which is combine all of the things I just talked about. It's really, it's my favorite one, because I performed this dance before and I really love that. So this is actually describing a story, and the story is talking about like a woman is waiting her lover, but the man doesn't come back. So this really sad story. You can think about like all details that I talked before, or just enjoy it. So this is a really sad story, isn't it? Okay, so you definitely learned something from that, right? So after observe this video, this piece, sorry. Our last question is coming. So now, do you know which picture is Chinese classical dance? Definitely the third one. Congratulations. And here is everything that I would like to present today, and you must be learn something from my presentation today. And thank you all for being patient to learn something or listen something from me. And I'm really excited to hope we can get some time or opportunity to work together. And here is my info in my email address. You can send me any questions, or if you still have something interesting you want to ask me. I really would like to learn some voices from you guys. And thank you everyone to listening my presentation today, and have a good day. Bye.